Hey, who are all these jokers? See what I did there? Yeah, welcome back to another action figure obsession video. I was discussing Todd McFarlane and McFarlane Toys and the quality of their figures with one of my viewers, and I was saying in the exchange that I have about 50 or 60 DC Multiverse figures produced by McFarlane Toys, and that I think I would gladly trade all 50 or 60 for one or two really good Marvel Legends or G.I. Joe Classified Series figures. I think that might be true. But despite that, I was looking over my collection of DC Multiverse figures, which started, I can't remember which character it was, but well, when the line first launched, which I think was around 2000, it was 6 or 7 years ago, or 2020 rather, COVID year. I think that was around when McFarlane kicked off that line. I bought the first few. I mean, there was a Superman and a Batman, and that's basically always given us in the line is Superman and Batman, and then occasionally other characters, but so many Supermen and so many Batmen. But I did buy like that weird Japanese sort of robot Superman, and there was a really weird Batman. I mean, I don't know. The line started off really strange, and they weren't really well articulated, and they weren't really great. And I gave up on it after maybe 5 or 6 figures, and I think I traded all those off or sold them off. And then I don't even remember who it was, but there was some character that they did, and I looked at it, and I watched some reviews, and I'm like, well, shit, I guess I need that. Even though I don't collect 7-inch figures, and these are 7-inch scale figures, although the scale varies wildly with McFarlane. They don't really seem to care if their figures really even look normal next to each other. I mean, these are both supposed to be the same character, the Joker. And clearly, even with the hat, the one on the right has a good 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch on the one on the left. But when I was looking over my shelf of them, and what the hell, my foot feels good enough. I'm just gonna illustrate quickly what I'm talking about. So minus the stuff in my little staging area over there in the photo booth. This is my entire McFarlane collection right here. We got that guy. I can't ever remember Henry Cavill, the last Superman before David Corn Sweat. Then we got this Christopher Reeve cell shaded one, which I like. I haven't opened either one of these. I haven't opened this one because it was expensive. It's probably come down since Henry Cavill quit the job or whatever, they fired him, whatever happened. And I haven't opened this one because I have two others of the same body as you'll see here. But I like the cell shading, and I like how it looks in the package. So, it looks like Christopher Reeve, right? And the cell shading isn't terrible. So this is everything minus those Jokers and the one Batman that I had back on the table. There's my G.I. Joe Hiss Tank, by the way, the Cobra Hiss Tank. Really big vehicle. Got really lucky. I didn't back the HasLab crowdfunding, but managed to get it the first week that it came out when somebody sold an extra one to Replay Toys down in Burnt Hills. While I'm standing here. Anyway, yeah. So these are my other McFarlane. This is the whole thing. These are all my loose McFarlane figures minus those Jokers and the one Batman back on the work table. So basically, front row here is Justice League from Superman, Batman, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. The Green Lantern of Earth 2 back there. Love him. Flash, Aquaman, the Atom, and Orion, one of Jack Kirby's New Gods creations. So that's what I have for my Justice League lineup. I would have loved to have completed a Justice League with a decent Wonder Woman. Really sorry I missed out on Power Girl, because she was a Wally Wood co-creation and one of my favorite DC characters of all time, the Earth 2 version of Supergirl, Power Girl. Then what else we got? Oh, Wildcat. Remember, I talked at one point about how when I was a little kid, I couldn't tell the difference between Batman, Wildcat, and Black Panther. This Henry Cavill, this is like a statue that was in the movie that somebody defaced and they did it as a figure, which is really kind of weird. So it's supposed to be, made out of metal. It's the exact same figure as this, which is why I bought it, because at the time this was impossible to get. And now I have them both and honestly don't really care. This Ben Affleck sort of Dark Knight Returns, I'm not sure what movie this is actually from. Batman v Superman, I guess. That armored Batman. That's probably one of the better McFarlane figures. We got this Batman, which I think is the Nightmare Batman, in that overcoat with his binoculars. Got like a World War II Superman here where he's breaking the chains. That's pretty cool. I like that. I don't know what the hell the deal is with this Batman. Is it a Kelly Jones Batman, like a vampire Batman? Got a John Constantine here. He's reading a menu or a book or something. Max Mercury from Mark Waid and Mike Waringo's Flash run. Another Batman. This is like a combination Batman, Superman, and Green Lantern. I don't know what he's all about, but everybody said it was a great body. And I guess it is, but I don't like the all red head, and I don't really care about the character. The two best comic Supermans, in my opinion, that they did, or at least the two that I have, were these. Was this the one they called the? I think it was the one they called the Silver Age, but it was the Bronze Age. It's really Bronze Age, based on Jose Luis Garcia Lopez designs. But this one comes with the cloth cape, so it's bendable and posable. This is basically the same figure. Well, here the logo is painted on here, or tampography could be. Whereas this one, it's sculpted and painted and looks much nicer. But it has a hard plastic cape, or relatively hard plastic cape. So, somewhere between this one and this one, you'd have a really good Superman if you could put this cloth cape on this body. But, yeah. I already looked at the Justice League. So there's the good Christopher Reeve Superman. Got really lucky, found all three of them on the same day in the same Walmart. And then they wouldn't ring up, so it took me like an hour to actually get them to sell them to me. They had to jump through some hoops to figure out how to sell them to me, but I got all three of the Christopher Reeve Supermans at the same day at the same Walmart. There's a Batman from Dark Knight Returns. I have two of these. This one is the battle damaged one, and I like him better. The other one is back here. He's in the black and gray. Really, really short figure compared to most McFarlane figures. Scale went right out the window for both Batman and Superman in that wave. That was the Build a Horse wave, by the way, because Batman rode a horse in The Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller series. This is the best Batman body, I think. I forget which one it's called. I have like 6 or 7 of these Batman figures on this body. It might be the Hush Batman, not 100% sure. But this is the Fleischer Studios animated Superman from the late 30s, early 40s, whenever those cartoons came out. They did a really nice job on that. I have no complaints, no notes. That was a great figure. Really, really well done. Bought 2 of the Sergeant Rocks because I was really big into G.I. Joe at the time, even though these are wildly out of scale with G.I. Joe. They probably have 1.5 inches or 2 inches on the average G.I. Joe classified figure. At one point, I put an alternate Christopher Reeve head on one of them to make them look like 2 different characters, but then I decided I really didn't give a shit. Their weapons are from the red is the giveaway there, if you see the red magazines. They're from a Spawn, one of the Spawns that I bought, I think one of the Call of Duty Spawns. So the weapons are completely inappropriate for a World War II character. But if you don't look too closely, it's just 2 soldiers, right, hanging out together. And unfortunately, the head sculpt looks like Sinbad. It doesn't look anything like Joe Kubert's Sergeant Rock or anybody else's Sergeant Rock. It just looks like Sinbad. So I try to just, look at them from this angle. Azrael Batman. Can't go wrong with that. That's probably one of the best McFarlane figures that did a really nice job on that. The cape / claw things on his back, very intricate. I'm going to move Sergeant Rock so you can get a better look at him. Look at that. Look at that. I am a sucker for Azrael Batman. I will say that. Maybe I don't want to get rid of some of these. This one, Spawn, we looked at him, the Spawn and the Batman from the 2-pack. We already looked at those. in another video. This is from The Batman, the Robert Pattinson movie. This is his Bruce Wayne here in the center. Po-faced, I don't know, a weird outfit. I think he came with that book, although I may have given it to him from another figure. I'm not sure. Again, that Dark Knight Returns Frank Miller Batman. I mean, it definitely looks like Frank Miller and Klaus Janson drew it, right? There's the Superman from Dark Knight Returns, the Miller and Janson. See how short he is? Very tiny. The Batman and the Superman, they're in the back. Those are the two Frank Miller, Klaus Janson, Dark Knight Returns. And they pretty much scale with Marvel Legends. Even though they're supposed to be 6-inch figures, they pretty much scale, or supposed to be 7-inch figures, they pretty much scale with 6-inch line. This Hugo Strange Batman is on that good Batman body, or the Hush body, or whatever it is. I remember that story where he was dressed up as Batman. It's a nice enough Batman that I kind of wish it had an alternate Batman head and neck and a regular Batman logo on the chest. But it definitely is only meant to be the Hugo Strange Batman, and that's fine. Crazy psychiatrist who tries to steal Batman's identity. That's my favorite of all the Batmans, the one from the Spawn 2-pack. There's a Captain Cold that my wife bought me one night at Walmart when we were shopping with her parents. So he goes with my Flash, because he is a Flash villain, and they did a really, really nice job on him for what it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, the plastic quality of most of these kind of sucks. The articulation isn't really great on any of them. But some of them I really like the character, and I'll forgive a lot for that. And I have to admit that. And Captain Cold, my biggest complaint really is just the color of his weapon. But if his gun was pink in the comics, then I can't argue with that. But I don't know. Like a nice silver would have been nice. And finally, the evil Superman from whichever Superman movie he turned evil. Hey, he had like an evil clone. Was it Superman 2 or Superman 3? I forget which one. So that's the third of my 3 Christopher Reeve Supermans. There's that other Wolverine I was talking about in an earlier video. Might open that and give him another head too. Oh, there's that Danny Houston head sculpt that I was telling you about. Do you recognize Danny Houston, the actor, in that head sculpt, the unmasked head sculpt there? As long as we're here, right? And yeah, I've got this one up on the flight stand because I don't know. He just looks evil, doesn't he? Evil Superman. I'm evil Superman. Evil. And while we're here, say hello to the greatest Hulk action figure ever created, the Marvel Select Immortal Hulk, R.I.P. Diamond Select Toys, R.I.P. Marvel Select. He is in my Avengers, my primary Avengers display. Look at that. I talk about it all the time, but I don't really show it too often. Here they all are. I'll let you figure out who everybody is, but I'll give you a good look real quick. There's that 2017 Retro Spider-Man in there, and the Wasp is calling over a waiter or something. And Sentry and my kit-bashed modern Hawkeye back there with Duke's head from G.I. Joe Classified, and the Vision and Ant-Man. That is the primary Avengers display that I talk about so often. And I call it primary because then we have our West Coast Avengers display. And there are my West Coast Avengers. I always forget to bring U.S. Agent out whenever I'm talking about Captain America, and I talk about him a lot, but there he is. He's in with the West Coast Avengers, John Walker, the U.S. Agent, Spider-Woman, who debuted in Secret Wars, and the Silver Centurion Iron Man, and, yeah, Hawkeye on his Sky Cycle. That's a different Hawkeye than the one that's on my work table. And, West Coast Avengers Moon Knight there. And Tigra. There's Tigra back there. Say hi, Tigra. Yep. And then Hydra's right below that. And then the Defenders. But we're talking about McFarlane. And if we pull out and get a wider perspective, that top shelf right there under the comic books, that top shelf is, that's all I have of McFarlane DC Multiverse. That's probably not even 10% of the figures that he's produced in the last 6 or 7 years in that DC Multiverse line, but I'm going to go back to the work table, and we're going to talk about the ones that I really kind of like. So maybe it's because McFarlane is kind of a joker himself, or just a joke. I don't know that he makes good jokers, but I do enjoy most of these jokers very much. First of all, though, I want to talk about the Adam West. Sorry, guys. Oh boy, everybody went flying. Wow, the Adam West Batman. I think, I hate to admit it, I have so many problems with old Toddy, but this Adam West Batman almost makes it all worthwhile. I mean, look at it. Look at it. It is Adam West from Batman 1966. And it's a thing of beauty. It really is. It's not perfect, but it's definitely Adam West, and it's definitely the 1966 Batman, and I dig it. And I just thought, since I bought one of these figures simply so that I could get the table and chairs that you see here. This is the interrogation room set that McFarlane made. I needed a Batman to be sitting there waiting for the Joker to come and talk to him. So that was my thinking there. Just pick everybody up. Sorry, guys. All right. So let's talk about him a little. What's the best way to do this? I guess bring him forward one at a time. I'm going to get... No, you're not going to fall down. I mean, you are, obviously, but... This guy, see, he fell over, and I had the Joker. He's got this. He comes with a Joker fish. If you ever read that story, and I had it jammed very nicely in his left hand, but yeah, I can't do it one-handed. I'm not sure which storyline some of these Jokers are from. This crowbar indicates to me that this may be the Joker that killed Jason Todd. The second Robin, the Robin that inherited the title of Robin from Dick Grayson when Dick Grayson became Nightwing. They had a whole, it was a thing, I think it was a 1-900 number. Will the Joker kill Robin? And they had the readers call that 1-900 number and vote whether Robin should be killed or not. Jason Todd was very controversial. He was not a nice kid like Dick Grayson. He was kind of a prick and an asshole, and now he's the Red Hood. He did die. The Joker killed him with that crowbar. And he stayed dead for a good long time. Yes, he did. It's occurring to me that it's almost like a puppet show now, isn't it? It's almost like a puppet show. But yeah, this is basically my he killed Jason Todd Joker from A Death in the Family. And he comes with a Joker fish. So I'll put him here in the back with his fish, so I remember to put that back. And okay, interrogation room Joker is I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure that it was this Heath Ledger Joker that came with the set. It was, I paid, I think, $80 or $90 for the interrogation room set, which again included 2 very cheap plastic chairs and this table. And then the rest of it, like the inside of the box was the backdrop of the interrogation room, but I threw it out. I probably should have kept it. Because there were angles from which you could kind of sell that you were in that interrogation room. I was probably stupid to throw the box away. But, imagine how many boxes I would have piled up in this house if I kept all the boxes. So Heath Ledger, rumor has it, might still be alive if he hadn't chosen to play the Joker. Who knows? I'm not sure if this bag came with him, or if I think that might have come with the Marvel Select Green Goblin. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks good on him anyway. Comes with a cell phone, and just honestly, Hasbro and Mattel and everyone else, every action figure should come with a cell phone now, not just Happy Hogan and the Joker. And I think this Joker is probably the only one that comes with. Boy, look at that. Look at that. They did a real nice job on the Heath Ledger head sculpt. The only thing that I like about the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, and I mean all 3 of them, the only thing that I like is Heath Ledger's performance. I think that Christopher Nolan is a very, very overrated film director. I have enjoyed a couple of his movies, but am not obsessed with, and do not think that they are the high art that some people seem to think that they are. I just don't think he's that good, and maybe it's just my Dunning-Kruger. Maybe I think that I know more than I do, but I don't know. His movies just kind of leave me cold, and not in a good way, like Stanley Kubrick movies leave me cold. I just think that I guess I feel that Christopher Nolan's reach exceeds his grasp. He's very ambitious, but he doesn't usually nail it. Doesn't nail it. Know what I'm saying? But I think that Heath Ledger gave his all in that part, and which I don't even remember which Joker movie it was. I think it was the second of the 3 movies in the trilogy. Also hated Christopher Bale as Batman and as Bruce Wayne vociferously. I can't even explain how much I hated Christian Bale in that part. I liked. I think I liked every actor that ever played Batman, including Adam West, better than I liked Christian Bale as Batman. And that, of course, that recording of him, that audio recording where he was berating somebody for, screwing up his scene or whatever, that doesn't really help because you realize the guy's just a fucking asshole and he's not really playing an asshole. He just is one. So, yeah, the Heath Ledger, I ended up with Heath Ledger simply because I wanted the table and chairs, which I use more for Marvel Legends than I do McFarlane toys. And I discovered when I tried to seat this Batman in it that I couldn't anyway. He's got the sort of rubber panties that they put on the McFarlane figures to make them more flexible. But I couldn't get the legs into a sitting position to put him on the chair because I thought it would be funny to have him, sitting in the chair waiting for the Joker. But I couldn't even do that, so more McFarlane failure. I guess I'm saving the best for last here. Here's another. I think 3 of these, are the same. Maybe 2 of these are the same body. I think this one and the Jason Todd killing one, they both come with the crowbar. Maybe that's the hint. Yeah, and they both have a flower on their chest. No, different ties, though, and different vests. Maybe they're not the same. All right, you just hang in there, kitten. So this one, I feel like, it's not meant to be a Jack Nicholson Joker, but it doesn't have that kind of look to it, the face. Like Jack Nicholson from 1989 Batman a little bit. Not the chin, obviously, but I don't know. I kind of get that vibe off him. He's got the wilted flower. The vest is quite ornate. Look at the gold paint on the buttons. You gotta give him credit where they deserve it. I like the spats on the shoes. Those are quite nice. This guy has spats on his shoes, too. This one is really well painted. Really, really well painted. It might be the best, comic book Joker or regular comic book Joker here. I'm not sure. Put him over there. So how much do you know about the Red Hood that wasn't Jason Todd? Are you aware that there was a Red Hood before Jason Todd? Are you aware that Adam West just fell flat on his face? That gravity is a bitch, even when you're a 1/10 scale character. Oh, I see his foot kind of, little kikis for you later, buddy. So this is the Golden Age Red Hood, who was, at the time of his debut, or at the time that he was revealed, sort of a nameless thug who got duped into putting on a red hood and helping a gang of criminals steal some money or chemicals or something from a chemical factory. And Batman intercepted, and the thug, this guy, fell in a vat of chemicals, which turned his hair green and his skin white. This Red Hood is actually the first appearance Joker, at least a retcon of that, because I think the Joker started as the Joker, but then we got the backstory filled in. He's got a Tommy gun here, a Thompson submachine gun, and in looking at it, it seems a little small for him, and also it has a porthole for blast effects, so I'm thinking it might be a Valiverse one. Let me see. Yeah, it's pretty sturdy, pretty stiff. I think that might be a Valiverse Thompson submachine gun that I gave to the Red Hood, but it is era appropriate, and quality-wise, this is definitely one of the best McFarlane Joker figures, even though, not everybody realizes this is the Joker. There's people probably that bought it thinking it had something to do with Jason Todd, who became the Red Hood when he came back from the dead. But this is pretty nice. Again, the nice shoes with the spats. He's got the white gloves. He's got the red hood. And that's true to the original comic. It was kind of like a bucket on his head or something, and a cloth cape with a wire in it, so you can pose that around. I go back and forth on cloth goods, other than Mezco, which does a pretty nice job with them. I mean, I don't have any Hot Toys figures, but obviously they do a good job too. Um, but at $300 or $400 each, I will never have any Hot Toys. Period. End of sentence. But I think the Red Hood may be my favorite just visually. I think he's stunning. Um, Probably my favorite of all of them. Now, this one is stunning, but also sickening, if you know where he's from. Alan Moore wrote The Killing Joke, and artist Brian Bolland drew it, and it was a horrific, adults-only comic book story about the Joker kidnapping and sexually attacking Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. He was the one who put her in the wheelchair when she became Oracle. The character Oracle, which I think was trying to redeem the horrific Alan Moore story. The writer Alan Moore, who is my favorite comic book writer of all time and probably one of my top 3 or 4 prose writers of all time too. His prose novels are amazing. So he wrote this book, Batman: The Killing Joke, with the artist Brian Bolland, and that's what this figure represents. This is the cover, basically the cover image of that book. It is the Joker, taking photographs of Barbara Gordon and her father, Jim Gordon, the police commissioner, Commissioner Gordon, being humiliated and raped and beaten and almost murdered. I really went back and forth on getting this because the story is so loathsome that Alan Moore has disavowed it. He says that he regrets writing it. There was an animated film that they made a few years ago that comic book writer Brian Azzarello wrote the screenplay for. And it basically was Alan Moore's story, only with a new beginning. Like there was like 60% or 40% new material added to the thing, I think, so that they could give the bulk of the residuals to Azzarello instead of Alan Moore, because DC Comics has been waging war on Alan Moore since the late 90s in just the most unforgivable, awful ways. They have never stopped punishing him for making Watchmen a success, and that's all I'll say about that for now, anyway. But this is just a visually striking, stunning figure. As I say, I have mixed feelings, mostly contempt and disgust for the story, but the figure itself is a good representation of the evil that the Joker represented in that story. And, I think I paid $60 for this. It might have been $80. But it just called to me, and I'd go to the vintage toy store in Vermont that I got it from. I would go week after week and see it sitting there, and I was so conflicted. And even as I'm looking at it now, in real life and on the screen here, I still have conflicted feelings. But it represents a moment in comics. It represents a moment that the comics industry made a big mistake, and that movie. The Brian Azzarello written animated version of The Killing Joke, the things that they added to it that made it even worse, even more vile. If anybody wants to know, say something in the comments. I've actually written extensively about this, and I'd be happy to post a link to my writing about that animated film, because really it was almost a crime against humanity. That's really the level of it, and one of the many reasons that I really struggle with having affection for DC Comics characters, because DC Comics as a company, so many just absolutely disgusting, grotesque decisions. I should have saved this for last, because now I'm all bummed out and I still have 2 figures to go. But let's knock them out and get the hell out of here, shall we? So these are the same figure. I got 2 of them. They come with an alternate head, which is why you see the 2 different faces. The Gotham Terrorism Oppression Unit. I guess there wasn't a room for a U on the bulletproof vest. Gotham Terrorism Oppression Unit, and I had to look it up because I can never remember. But this is Jack Napier, In Batman the White Knight, Jack Napier heads up the Gotham Terrorism Oppression Unit, which just slides so eloquently off the tongue. Jack Napier, of course, is a dedicated police officer, probably a decorated police officer. That's why he's chosen to head up this anti-terrorist organization. Bears no resemblance whatsoever to the Joker. Doesn't have a big, eerie, leering grin. I got two because I wanted to be able to display both versions, and also I just think as a cop figure, as a police officer figure, this was long before G.I. Joe Classified did their Legacy Collection police officer. This was like the only game in town. Again, 7-inch scale figures. They're the same height as my 6-inch Blue Marvel figure, which, you know, this one has the head from Dirk Anger, director of Hate. But they are they're the same height. Todd McFarlane, what are you doing? These are 7-inch Jokers. These just 2 Jokers are 6 inches. It's crazy. It's just freaking crazy. I'd love to know what the decision process is. Is there anyone that is doing their job? Turns out this gun, I forget what it's called, but it's a real gun from the Old West that really was that long and insane. And I never used to display any of my figures with it. But number one, this one has stayed straight, relatively straight. And it's just so funny that the Joker has this gun that's, you know, as long as his leg, basically. I don't know what the benefit was of this gun. I believe it might have been a Winchester or a Colt. And this one, I got, this same gun came with another McFarlane figure. So I gave this, because this guy I think I got loose, and then this one I got new in the box. His is got a little Peyronie's disease there. Bends a little to the right. But, you know, I pose it away when they're back in the display. So my Jack Napier / Joker Gotham, I feel better now about this rapey Joker, now that I'm talking about the ones that I like best. Red Hood, Heath Ledger, and the Jack Napier and Gotham Terrorism Oppression Unit Joker. Again, this is just one figure, but I bought 2. And I don't know. I mean, none of these look as good as the best Marvel Legends. Todd McFarlane seems just constitutionally unable to be consistent or have any kind of a philosophy of toy production or toy design that makes any kind of sense at all. He just seems to constantly be making it up as he goes along. And so as a result of that, I guess, sometimes you get something really great. Sometimes you get something really disturbing. Sometimes you get something really fun. Sometimes you just get some good Jokers and some good face likenesses to real people. Yep. That was Jack Napier taking a header. There we go. Back on your feet. Back on your feet. Nope. Now they're all going down. All right. Yep. So this one probably deserves to go down, but we'll put him in front. That's the representation of evil. But that Adam West Batman, look at this guy. Look at him. Look at me, Robin. Look at me. This is not a joke. The Joker has escaped from Arkham Asylum. We must get to the Batcave. Yep. Grew up on that show. It debuted the year I was born, the greatest year in pop culture history. And that is Adam West. I feel like I'm holding Adam West in my hand. I feel like I'm lovingly caressing his beautiful face. Okay, that's enough of that. But yeah, like I say, between this Red Hood and this Adam West and the Jack Napier Gotham Terrorist Oppression Unit and these guys, I think that, you know, of the subset of stuff in my McFarlane collection, I think these are my favorites. It's hard to really call this a favorite, but it looks good for what it is. I just wish that it wasn't what it is, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I am so deeply conflicted that I feel like I should apologize for even owning it, and yet at the same time, there's a part of me that's glad that I have it. I can't explain it. But, Yeah. I didn't mean to drag the whole Killing Joke issue into this thing, and I'm sure, well, McFarlane knew what he was doing when he made this figure, right? I mean, he knew what it was. He knew what it represented. It represents horror. It represents horror that has affected millions of people in real life. And I guess maybe that's why I feel like I should apologize for owning it. And I'm going to put him back on the back of the shelf. You know, he doesn't need to be front and center. He can lurk back there like a pervert with his, trench coat and camera. And yeah, so McFarlane has done some pretty good Jokers. He did a great Red Hood, did an amazing Adam West Batman, and these are the ones that I think really stand out for me in my collection. But again, I'd probably trade every McFarlane figure that I have for just a couple of really, really good Marvel Legends that I have missed out on in the last few months. There've been a couple. The pricey ones, the made to order ones, I haven't been able to score any of those yet. But I am actually thinking about just packing up all these McFarlane figures and taking them down and trading them in. I'm giving that some serious thought, so we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. I know I'll get some money for this thing. It's a fact. It's worth money. It's a disgusting fact, but it's a fact. So on that downer note, sorry to bum everybody out. I do appreciate you stopping by for this edition of Action Figure Obsession. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. If you hate that Killing Joke graphic novel and what it was about and the effect that it had on comics, really give it a thumbs down. You really show me, tell YouTube. No more rapey Joker videos. And comment, subscribe, share the video with your friends who maybe like Batman or the Joker. That could be a thing. Somebody might like Batman out there somewhere, right? And until I see you again on the next Action Figure Obsession, take it easy. Have a good one.